Welcome to the Witchy Work Wishes podcast, a place to find your weekly inspiration for bringing your personal witchcraft practice into your business, work, and office. Welcome to Witchy Work Wishes. I am your host, Charlene, and today we are starting part 2 of the Moon Magic series. And I am so happy to say that Anika is back for this one to help me walk through all of the amazing magic we can do in connection to our beautiful moon. And spoiler, we get a little silly in parts, really giggly in others, but have lots of witchy fun with all of it. Now first, I usually do like to pull things I did over the weekend to help with my own personal craft. But since our taping went long, no shock, right? Usually when we get together on a topic, it's hard to cut it down and squeeze it into an hour, if not 30 minutes. So I did find the best place to split it, and we'll have the longer part here, and then the other part next week where I can add my own stuff, the new poem I wrote, and more of my normal type topic layout. So I do have a quick ad, and then I'm going to bring Anika in to Witchy Work Wishes. All right, Moon Magic. I am super excited to welcome Anika back to Witchy Work Wishes.
Hello, thank you for having me again.
And just so everybody knows, we're already done. We're already over it.
Yeah, we're exhausted.
We've been trying to set up this. I'm not techie. I'm just not. And this dual mic thing, and literally it's been like an hour of us trying to set up equipment, and we feel like we're already done. We've already recorded a whole podcast.
Yeah, we're already yawning.
We're already yawning.
But it's okay.
All right, well, Anika, I ventured out on my own for part 1 of Moon Magic last week. Yes. But I am so happy and thankful that you are helping me with part 2 today. Now, I always like to start my podcast off with some things I did over the weekend to help with my own personal practice. And it's been a while since we touched base with you. What about you? Did you have a witchy weekend or?
I did a little bit.
Okay.
I did some work in my personal book of shadows and worked on a couple pages and just listing out some more correspondences and worked on some spell crafting too.
I like it.
So yeah, nothing too intense, but.
How often are you in your shadow book?
It kind of depends. I mean, it's really just a place for all my correspondences. So if I need help with, I like crafting my own spells. I like using, it's great to have spell books and stuff, but I just think it's so personal, and my success rate is way better when I make my own spells.
That's so true.
Yeah.
And when you physically write it down. I know I'm so into
exactly.
not being techie, but I like getting on the computer. I like typing things up, but I just don't retain it and remember it like I do when I handwrite.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
so
different.
Pretty often. Almost every time I do a spell.
I have to I was going to reach out to you. I think I sent you a message about when my older son was just home.
Oh, yeah.
And he was helping me with some yard work stuff, and he knows how important feathers are to me, right? And of course, I have everything, not just crows in my backyard, but a little bit of everybody.
Yeah.
So as he was doing it, he was so obsessed with
I love that.
with bringing feathers into me. And so he had his his headset on. He was listening to music and doing things, and the back door just kept opening and opening. He's like, "Mom, I got another one," and it was this beautiful collection of crow feathers, baby crow feathers. Certainly little morning doves, jays. We've got jays. So I've got this whole bag of feathers. And he's like, these are for you. I'm like, no, those are you. This is you found this. So I kept thinking about our crow and raven magic.
Exactly.
And I'm like, I've got to reach out to Anika before I do something for Taylor. But I want to do something real special for him for all the feathers that he found.
Oh, that would be awesome.
And then send it back to him back in college.
That is so cool.
I thought about you a couple times.
He hit the jackpot then.
You should see how many feathers there are. It's. I'll send you a picture.
Yeah.
He did amazing work, but he was so happy. Every feather he found, I'm like, okay, this.
The light in his eyes.
That's right. That's right. Okay, before we get into the magical side of moon workings, which is what today's podcast is all about,
I'm going to go ahead and recap some points from last week's episode just to get everybody up to speed. So first, I mentioned scientists believe the moon was created over 4.5 billion years ago by some type of collision with Earth and either another planet or something about the size of Mars. And the moon, they believe, is a piece of Earth that broke off from that impact. And then, the pieces were pulled together with gravity, forming our moon. Second, the moon is a little under 240,000 miles away from us, and it circles or orbits the Earth, completing a full cycle every 29.5 days. Now, as the moon is circling around the Earth, it's actually doing its own rotation as it rolls around. And I think I mentioned, trying to imagine like a marble, how it's fluid in it and it's rolling around too. The moon does not have its own light. Rather, it is reflecting the sun's light back to us. In 1609, I think we've got the oldest drawing on record of the moon, and it is from a mathematician named Thomas Harriot. But also in 1609, a more famous person in our history, Galileo, an Italian physicist, did a drawing recreating the moon as well. He is more well known because he was put under house arrest by the Roman Catholic Church because his moon drawing went against what the church's teachings were.
What's new?
He actually died in the house. They put him under house arrest. Like, that was it. He was under house arrest and he died in that very house.
Wow.
All because it didn't conform to what they were teaching people.
That's
crazy. I know. Okay, so for our moon, our full moon, calendar months, we've got the wolf moon, also called the old moon, and the moon after Yule. That's our January one. February is all about the ice moon and hunger moon. Storm moon and worm moon comes in March. April has our growing moon and our pink moon. The hare moon and milk moon pops up in May. June is the mead moon and the dyad moon. Hay moon and wart moon is July. And then August brings the corn moon and dispute moon. Harvest moon, our beautiful harvest moon and vine moon, shine in September. October is the blood moon, also known as the shedding moon. The snow moon and tree moon, also called trading moon, come in November. And then December wraps it up with the cold moon and the oak moon. Let's see, I also mentioned that the moon not only works with the changing seasons, it actually affects what is going on here with us. Back to the rotation of the moon and the earth, without our beautiful moon, we would be spinning much, much faster, and we would be way off tilt. So that gravitational pull, dance that we do together allows us to spin just right and tilt just perfectly so our planet survives.
Thank you, moon.
Thank you. Yay, moon. Yay. That's right. Did you know each year the moon moves a little farther away from Earth? Yep, it does. Only it's something under 2 inches, but it actually
that's sad.
I know, it's going farther away. But it's affecting us for sure.
Yeah.
We talked about the moon cycles in each month and how we can work with it during, the calendar year and the 4 quarters, as well as possibly within, our 7-day week, starting with Monday and the new moon, and then ending on Sunday with the dark moon. We also talked about energies with each of the moon's cycles. I know it's a quick recap, but that does kind of bring us up to speed of everything that I covered last week. Now, today as we are getting into the witchy side of moon magic, it happens to be perfectly in harmony with the moon's current cycle. Because as this airs today, it is a full moon, which I was nervous about before because I wanted it to be the new moon, but it's not. It's okay, a full moon.
It works out. It works out. And you know what? There's 2 full moons this month, so
amazing, isn't it?
Even better.
So it's meant to be. This is our second powerful full moon, so this is a good one. So, moon magic. This really can be practiced, I think, and worked on by any type of witch, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to be a lunar witch or define yourself as one. I think for most of us, I don't fit into a specific box or description, which I love. I love that about our practice.
Yeah, same. I think a lot of different witches identify with going by the lunar cycle, and, everyone kind of has that pull. Most everyone.
Absolutely. Yeah. At least part of it. Doesn't mean you have to be a full lunar witch to use it in your practice.
And it can definitely add some serious potency to your spellcraft and your rituals and stuff too.
So believe in that.
It's a really, really powerful correspondence.
Isn't it amazing? Like every time I do one more podcast and add one more layer onto like more knowledge about it, and I just say, like, you know what? It all circles back.
Yeah, it does.
It all matters. It all matters. Okay, so I love that we can pull and use what works for us when we need it, and we can pull other things and use other stuff when they are needed. So I'm sure we lean more heavily towards a type of witchcraft and have our own little, niche in our practices, but how fun to evolve and grow our craft as we ourselves grow and evolve. So in general, a lunar witch and moon magic practices will have some common correspondences. So certainly animals, we're going to have the cat, right? Highly tied to the moon. Wolves and dogs, we like that howling wolf, howling to the moon. Owls, of course, bats, spiders. We've got raccoons, possums, frogs, deer, rabbits, and moths.
I love moths. Personally, I love them way better than butterflies.
So guess what I saw for the first time the other day? I didn't even know it existed.
What?
It's like a hummingbird moth. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
You already knew about that?
Yeah.
No, I did not.
They look so trippy, huh?
It is in my friend's yard. She's like, Charlene, what? This is like a hummingbird. I'm like, I don't think it is. Like that. It flies like a hummingbird. So you already knew about it.
Hummingbird moth.
They're gorgeous.
But I just love them. I think they're so much cuter than butterflies, personally.
Really?
Yeah. And they have, I don't know, like, if you have seen all the different moths out there, like, they're just as beautiful. And they're huge.
Ones.
There's some really, really big ones. And they're fluffy. They're fluffy, and they have thick legs, and they have,
fluffy.
like, thick antennas, and they're just they're like little sky puppies, whereas, like, the butterflies are, like, yes, they're beautiful.
Gorgeous. They're gorgeous.
But when you say their bodies, kind of scary. A lot more insect-like.
Your pull is definitely to the fluffy ones.
Yeah, exactly. The fluff. Give me the fluff.
Well, I was impressed. I'm going to look up more about the hummingbird moths because
That's actually, I feel like, kind of rare to see.
Because
you won't notice it.
I had no idea. And at my age, I'm surprised, like, nobody's ever said, oh, there's a hummingbird moth. Like, what?
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was super excited. Okay, so moths.
Yeah.
All right, what about crystals and stones? We've got,
Moonstone. Moonstone.
Moonstone, all about the moonstone. Selenite, pearls, of course, clear quartz, always. Obsidian, silver, emeralds, aquamarine, and topaz. I don't think that's a complete list, but
yeah,
it's a good one for the moon. For herbs, our beautiful moonflower, jasmine, one of my favorites, moonwort, gardenia, and the lemon balm. So I was going to do a quick side note here. We've got a couple, but so I have the strongest memories of the gardenia flower. So my aunt would actually put a gardenia petal, like a single petal, in her bra and use the aroma from the petal instead of putting perfume on.
No, that's awesome.
That was like her signature. It was very natural, but that was her signature smell.
And it like went to her skin, like the warmth and the oils from her natural skin.
Yeah. So she put, I know, it actually, it's pretty cool.
Talk about a witch. That's awesome.
So true. Okay, let's see. And then also my grandmother's yard was full of gardenia plants, but strong memories with that scent. Okay, so what are some other correspondences? Oh, deities, right? For sure.
Yes.
Moon deities. All right, Anika, how about we jump into deity work first before we start talking about some specific spells and workings with moon magic?
Yeah, definitely. Sounds good.
All right, right on. Well, I pulled like 5 pretty commonly known ones. And let's be honest, there's a bunch of gods and goddesses associated with the moon. We go from African cultures, American cultures, Asian cultures, European and Oceanic cultures. But the ones we're probably, I think, most familiar with are going to be the Greek, Roman, Norse, and Wicca cultures, right? We've got Artemis, which is Greek, Diana, Roman, Selene, Greek, Hecate, Greek, triple goddess, Wiccan. And I pulled one male, Mani, which is Norse.
I've never heard of Mani.
So he is from the Poetic Edda, or Poetic Prose. He's talked about in there. Okay, going backwards, like I loved our podcasts together about Hecate, and I know you've done some more workings with her since then. But can you get us started on who she is and what phase of the moon she represents?
Yeah, definitely.
At least a general one about who she is.
Yeah, so she's definitely mainly associated with the dark moon phase. However, if you are more into working with Hecate, you know, with her many epithets, she can be associated with lots of different phases, nearly all of them. But she is from the Greek pantheon, and she is best known as the goddess of witchcraft and necromancy, magic, spells, liminal spaces. So usually she's depicted holding a key, torch, and a dagger. This usually goes with her triple goddess aspect. So one will be holding each. Usually depicted with dogs too. That's kind of like
that's her thing.
That's her thing.
For sure.
She is mostly associated with crossroads and entryways. That's kind of like that's her jam.
Yeah.
That's where she sits. That's her
power.
That is her power.
Yeah.
So when you're doing a lot of spell crafting and rituals and stuff with Hecate, it is usually at a crossroads, or you implement that some way into your craft.
Okay, so I have to ask.
Yeah.
Am I saying it wrong? Let's just go there.
Okay, what's the question?
Can we go there? So is it Hecate or Hecate?
Okay, so I
I just say
I said Hecate.
Yeah.
And honestly, truly, I think in the previous episode I mentioned it doesn't really matter because, you know, it's your personal relationship with that deity.
That's what matters.
But as a newer Hecatean practitioner, I definitely said Hecate because there's no one else to, like, say, oh, it doesn't really matter, or don't say it that way.
Yeah.
Every source out there kind of says, no, you have to say it this way. So I think it's really easy for people to get trapped with everything, too. For sure. Especially in the witchcraft community. So, no, I don't think it matters. Hecate rolls off the tongue more easily.
It does in Hecate.
Sometimes you say Hecate. I still say Hecate sometimes.
So literally, I think, so I've been doing the podcast for almost a year, and I think on some of my earlier episodes, I was saying Hecate.
Yeah, which is
and then
like how most people say it, or you should be saying it.
Okay, but then I felt like I got scolded, and like, no, Charlene, it is Hecate.
No, I felt like I got scolded. Oh, no. It's okay. But, you know.
So, do you figure it out? Like, what Hecate,
I'm gonna move forward saying Hecate.
Okay.
Yeah, because I just feel like I don't know. I should. I don't think it matters. I mean, she hasn't come to me saying you're saying my name wrong.
That's right.
I think she's more pleased with the fact that I'm trying to make a connection.
That's what it's about.
So
no, for sure, that's what it's about. Okay.
Yeah, and I do know that she's the type of deity. If she didn't like the way I was saying her name, she would definitely let me know.
Yeah.
No,
that's fair, right? You would know.
Yeah. So her main number is going to be 3, 13. She is a triple goddess, but she's not the triple goddess. I know a lot of people associate with her as the crone, but I mean a lot of depictions and you know, if you go back into history and old writings and stuff, it's not necessarily the crone aspect, but she is a triple goddess.
Yeah. And I know I did mention 13 a lot last week. You know, our moon has 13 natural cycles.
Yeah.
Very feminine power. So do we in our fertile years, and that's it's 13. That's a divine goddess number. Like that is the girl power.
And I can tell you, I used to not really like the number 13
because we've been told.
Yeah, because you've been told
scary or
it's
bad
scary.
Or yeah.
But what started to change my mind as a kid is my grandpa. I loved my grandpa growing up. Like that was my guy. We would always go and do stuff. But his favorite number was 13. And my mom always said, that's a bad luck number. That's why everything happens to you. Yep. He's like, no, it's not. That's my number. You'll see.
You'll see.
So I was like, okay, maybe 13's not that bad.
Because you're not bad.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so that was Hecate. Let's see. Artemis is one. Her father is Zeus, certainly well-known Greek god. Her mother's Leto, excuse me. Did you know that Artemis has a twin brother named Apollo? So quick info on Artemis. Her crystals are, of course, the beautiful moonstone, but also clear quartz. Is that Amazonite? Is that how you say that one? Amazonite?
I think so.
Amazonite?
I have runes that are made out of Amazonite.
Oh, really?
And I think that's how you say it.
Amazonite, okay.
But if not, I don't know.
Somebody will call it. Green aventurine and fluorite. Now, she is known for a connection with the crescent moon. So the new moon stage and Mondays are perfect for working with her. Artemis is all about animals and the moon. She is the Greek goddess of the hunt, so she's highly tied to the wilderness and the protection of animals.
She is the wild woman.
She is the wild woman, Artemis. I've seen a lot of vet practices have Artemis in the name. Have you seen that, like, or something with pets?
Yeah, I've never thought of that, but that can definitely tie in.
Like we did. What about Diana?
Okay, so Diana is, just like Artemis, Diana is a goddess of the hunt, but with the Romans.
Yeah.
So she's all about the wildlife and the moon. Her powers are with strength and independence, and is known for energy with fertility and childbirth and protecting women. Pagan history associates Diana with witchcraft. You know, that really reminds me a lot of Hecate.
It does,
See?
right?
I said Hecate.
There it is.
But her epithet, Enodia, is really connected to protecting women in childbirth and helping the mother through the pregnancy and protecting kids in witchcraft.
I mean, you've got to think about it. Any of the moon goddesses, it's all going to be about feminine power.
Yeah.
It just is. All right, well, Selene's another one. She happens to be a Greek goddess as well. Selene is actually called the goddess of the moon, like the goddess of the moon. Her energy is all about the moon, intuition, dreams, that feminine cycle of 13 we were just talking about. Now, if you're looking to work with the divine, feminine energy, she really is your deity. With her, it's all about dream work, about psychism, about the moon's power. And she is often considered the moon herself. So her strongest power is going to be with the full moon.
So if you want her help,
right?
During your spells, do it on the full moon.
That's right, if you're working with her. What's another one?
The lunar triple goddess. So we kind of touched on that, but this is mainly recognized in Wicca practices. And it is going to represent the maiden, the mother, and the crone. The triple goddess is a Wiccan deity who represents the maiden, which is the waxing moon. The mother represents the full moon, and your crone is going to be the waning moon. So the triple goddess is a powerful feminine deity since she embodies the 3 stages women go through with their physical self.
So true. This is going to happen. So there is one male god that is associated with the moon. It's the only male one that I pulled for today. And his name is Mani, and he is the Norse god of the moon. So he actually pulls the moon across the sky each night. And Mani has a horse-driven chariot to guide the moon and draw it across the stars, and is said to control the moon's phases of, waxing and waning. Now, I did read about Mani in the Poetic Prose, so that's where I pulled his name from.
Yeah.
All right, well, each of those goddesses will have days of the week that are certainly more powerful to their energies, and maybe not each of them to a specific day, but in general, the new moon is pretty much all about Monday, right? Monday is Moon Day. Artemis is going to be great with that one. This is her day because she pretty much represents a crescent moon. Full moon, we said Selene, right? We could do that for Wednesdays and Thursdays maybe. This is going to be it doesn't tie, let's see. I'm inputting this myself. This is not, I'm not grabbing this from anywhere else.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to do that 7 days in the week with the moon, Monday is definitely Moon Day. That's going to be your new moon. And then how you work the other ones into it, ending with the dark moon on Sunday, we find your way. But so I was thinking Selene would be good for Wednesdays and Thursdays, working on our intuition, working with our dreams, psychic energy. Dark moon, Hecate. I think that would be good for Saturday and Sunday, right?
Yeah.
These are her days. Now, her day is actually Saturday.
Yeah, right.
There's no doubt. But if you wanted to use the dark moon on Sunday, I think you could too.
Yeah, which will tie into, tying up the rest of the week.
Wrapping it up before you start all over again. So waxing and waning moons, the triple goddess for sure I think you could do, since she represents all 3 stages, right? Full moon you could pull in here with her too. Tuesday, Friday, Saturday work. Diana is a good moon goddess for the waxing phase though. All right, spell work. Can we get into it?
Yes.
Let's do it. Okay, spell work. Before doing some of the more specific spells and practices for each of the stages, how about we talk about some general ones, right? Like if you were just starting off and all of this seems way too much, there is an easy way, I think, to ease into moon magic and being a lunar witch. One, if you're drawn to the moon, that's your first step. Like, trust it. Even if you don't know why, I would follow the urge. It's leading you towards the moon for some reason. Trust your instincts. The moon represents our emotions, our subconscious. It's about working with the cycles of the moon to enhance our spells and craft. This is a deep magic. I think it's deep magic.
Yeah, it definitely can be.
Right? It's powerful, and it's directly tied to the water element. So if you were just starting off, I think I would just start with water and the moon. And the two best, easiest things to do for this are taking moon baths and making moon water. All right, moon bath. Have you done it before?
You
don't have a bathtub.
So I don't have a
Right
bathtub
now?
anymore.
That's right. You told me that. I'm sorry.
No. But when I did, I absolutely loved baths. Not necessarily full moon baths or... I did a lot of spellcrafting and ritual baths, which I did correspond with the moon phases, but I haven't done anything specifically for the moon.
With the bath.
Yeah. But I have utilized it before, and I love it.
I do too.
I love it.
I, for the longest time, was not into baths. It was like, who has time for a bath?
Yeah.
You get in that mom mode, you're in. I just was not good about taking time for
you
myself.
You have time. It's your time.
You make the time. All right, so moon bath. A cleansing moon bath, I think, can be very powerful. Even if you are not yet, working with the different phases, a moon bath is a great way to start. You can add specific, moon herbs to the water. Be sure to make, to clarify that there are ones that can touch your body.
Yeah, you can always put them in a sachet too, so
like
they
that.
don't go down the drain. I was really bad about that. I love just like dumping crap in there. Like, yes, I want you to sit in there like a little stew. And then I realized, and then it was a pain in the butt when I was draining it, and I had to get the strainer, and then I had to pick it all out with my hands, and I was like, there has to be an easier way to do this.
Sachet it up, girl. I like it. Of course, you can add essential oils. We can add salts, but add intentions. So if you're just starting off, a moon bath is going to be perfect. Add your intentions, and it will be specialized and unique just for you. Now, I love the element of fire, and I add it to just about everything I do. So cleansing the bathtub with sage or Palo Santo before you draw your bath is really good. Remove that negative energy. Just be sure to give the energy a place to exit when you do this.
Yeah.
But light your candles, say something about relieving stress and gaining the moon's energy, and you've got a moon bath. All right, moon water. What about that one?
Super easy.
Yes, please.
It's like so easy.
It is. So literally, of the two things to start with, moon bath and moon water.
Yeah.
Now I do this one as well, and it is super easy. So just be sure to bring your moon water back inside before the sun shines on it. That's the big takeaway there. If you don't have a backyard or somewhere safe to put your jar of water out all night to absorb the moon's energy, I've used my kitchen window before.
Yeah.
Any window, right? as long as it can.
Even on a cloudy night, a lot of people think that they can't make moon water if it's cloudy or if it's not a clear night. But I mean, it's all about the energy,
right? The energy's there. It is the energy. Yeah, whether you see it or not physically. Yeah, you're right. Now, if you want to get more specific with your moon magic, working with the stages of the moon cycle is going to be necessary.
Yes.
So, stage 1, the first one.
The new moon.
The new moon. Yay. I love this. I'm a Monday girl. I'm sure because I'm so tied to the moon, but I love the fresh beginning feeling. I love the beginning of a new year. I like making my to-do list and getting organized.
That's true.
It talks to me on a very, very deep level, but this stage is all about the beginning of something.
Yes.
The fresh start. This is a time to set intentions, to define your manifestations. It's a great time to cleanse. Not clean. I mean, also clean, but cleanse.
Yeah. Right? It's definitely a serious, magical manifestation time.
Yeah.
New beginnings, new starts, bringing plans to fruition.
Yep.
And it's time to take your first course of action on those plans that you've been wanting to do.
I love it. That's it. Step 1, right? Spells and rituals. What are some good things to do with the new moon? I've got vision boards. If that is something that talks to you, kind of collecting and organizing all your thoughts on a vision board and putting them physically out there in front of you, I think that's a good thing. Of course, a new moon bath. We just talked about baths. Yeah. Journaling is really good during the new moon.
I think the vision board, though, also really ties into the work thing. So if you are a corporate worker, that is something that you can utilize on the new moon within your job.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What about tidying up and organizing? Just cleansing and clearing our spaces, right? That's all good new moon stuff. All right, so let's see. Other stuff for new moon. Shadow work, even though I think we might associate that more with the stage that just happened before new moon, which is the dark moon, you can do some shadow work on a new moon, and it's a good time to journal and work on areas of self-improvement. Tidy up, organize, clean, cleanse, clear out your space. All that is good new moon stuff.
Yeah. I also really recommend divination work for guidance. So when it comes to the new beginnings and the new starts and stuff like that, divination is going to be a really powerful tool to kind of seek more guidance on those things. Grounding is definitely an essential practice, and I think can be most utilized during the new moon phase because if you're sitting there and you have this new plan and you want to get it started, it's very important to sit and center and ground and focus your energy on that and decide if this is really the best thing to do.
Could not agree more.
Yeah. I also have some herbs. So bay laurel, which I know can be used for a load of different things, and most of these other herbs can. But when it comes to the new moon, this plant is definitely bold and expansive and daring. So it's going to give you that momentum.
Which is what this is all about. You're gaining. Yeah, I like it.
Exactly. The allspice berries, I really like using them for attraction, luck, intention, and to bring some sort of potency to any spell work. It's just going to amplify. Also, alfalfa is another really good one for attraction, prosperity, abundance, manifestation. That one's going to be a huge one because when we're looking at new moon stuff, I know we're planning ahead, right?
That's right, yeah.
And most of these things, we want to be abundant. You want to be prosperous in the next lunar month.
Yeah, I like it. That's perfect.
I also have seeds. So
absolutely new moon stuff.
Yeah, so I think a good spell tip would be utilizing seeds because not only physically but metaphysically they represent the beginning of the growth of your journey, and there's that dormant energy that you have that you're just ready to unleash.
Can you feel it?
Yeah.
Can't you feel it? I know. I physically feel and emotionally feel these different stages.
Yeah.
It's just whether you're in tune to it or not, but we ebb and flow.
I do too, and I have to say, I've always been really attuned to the moon as well. I mean, I'm a Cancer, of course. So it's definitely something that I've been tied to for a long time. But
even if you don't know why, you're just tied.
You don't know. But recently, kind of personal, but I got off of hormonal birth control, and I think that actually helped me feel the phases more intensely. And I'm definitely, my body feels just as cyclical as, the actual moon. And I can, really, really feel it.
Nothing's masking or hiding it anymore. Nothing's forcing a
different... It's, awesome, but it's whoa.
Whoa.
It definitely slapped me in the face.
I love that you chose that, though.
Yeah.
How empowering that must feel.
Yeah, no, I love it. It was definitely the right choice. Okay, so when it comes to tarot, I know that is a very common divination practice, and it's pretty easy to get started with it. But when it comes to the new moon, the Fool is that's going to be your guy when it comes to... Yeah, so the Fool is about, the naivety, the lightheartedness. It's really a tarot card about beginning a new journey. And I love it when I pull the Fool. Because
I never have.
Between the earth and the sun, the moon shines no light. So we have only a slight reflection from the earth, using this time to start new career moves, relationships, and freeing yourself from old routines. So that Fool's just kind of go and do it. Be a fool about it, but it leads to good things. It's a positive card.
But don't you think that new moon is such a youthful, oh my gosh, rose-colored glasses view of everything's going to be okay type mentality.
Yeah, definitely. And if you have the Rider-Waite, the traditional deck, you probably most recognize he's almost jumping off of a cliff under the sunlight with a rose in his hand, and he has his bags packed. It's a little sack thing, and he has his little dog with him, and it's just a happy starting the new beginning.
Starting new, yeah. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Okay, what about waxing moon? That really comes next. If you are new on your moon cycle or the moon cycle journeys, all you remember is waxing, I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to dive a little deeper in this stage between the new moon and a full moon, there are going to be 3 parts to it. So first one is waxing crescent, and I think I mentioned this last week, but think of things growing, sprouting up. It's our time to get a little pep in our step again, get that momentum as the moon is gaining energy it's time to take what your dreams were and start putting them into action, right? You defined them in the new moon, saying this is what I want to do, and now let's go. Like, let's start getting that energy.
And definitely starting a steady pace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you're growing right now, but you don't want to burn out too quick.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. I like it. Okay, after waxing crescent comes first quarter. And here you've got even more power, even more strength coming to you. And the goals that you set with the new moon are going to be coming clearer and clearer and closer to completion. Still, you're going to work on your challenges, but take that added momentum and use it to fuel you. Then last stage in a waxing moon phase is the waxing gibbous. And these are the days really right before when the moon is its fullest. That energy is almost at its peak, you're in full force, and the moon is almost full. Spells and rituals. What can we do here? You know, again, this is all things that are growing, gaining, things that you want to get bigger. So money spells are perfect during a waxing moon. Career spells, rituals.
Any sort of activating and anything that's goal-driven. And nourishing your intentions.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Nourishing, I like that. That sounds good. This is a good time to work with keys. That's big for Hecate. The keys are big with her, but opening and allowing. Waxing moon, you want hair growth spells, intention spells. This is a perfect time, actually the only time to charge your moonstone jewelry and stones. So moonstones will lose power if you try to charge them in any other phase of the moon. It's all about the waxing moon for them.
I did not know that. So I'm not a big crystal person. I love them.
Yeah.
And I want to utilize them more. I think that's just like a huge book to open. But I definitely love them.
Right? I know.
But I don't practice with them. I would like to. I do own some crystals that I do utilize, but not anything like too specific, you know.
Right.
Not like the rare stuff that people really know.
Yeah, that I have no.
I have like amethyst and jasper, and I have, your typical.
I think I've got a tiger's eye for traveling around.
Yeah,
that's why.
Exactly.
All right, what do you have for a waxing moon on your end?
Practicing gratitude and recognition, I think, is also important in the waxing moon phase. Because sometimes I think we get too ahead of ourselves, and we get really excited with the new moon phase, which is really great. And
it's a lot of energy.
Yeah, it's going to charge our intentions for the rest of the way. But also it's really important to recognize what we already have, which can almost, bring another sort of powerfulness to what you're doing.
For sure. And
grounding and aligning. Always.
Always.
And I have some herbs too. I really like working with nettles, which again, when we think back to nourishing your intentions, nettles in general are super, super nourishing and have a lot of vitamins. You can eat them and, cook with them. They're rejuvenating, and they're really good when it comes to boundaries, like holding your position and your ground. Especially stinging nettle, because they have the little barbs and they'll hurt you.
That's right.
They will hurt you.
They're protective.
They are protected, but there's a sweet prize,
It's true. I like that.
Lemon balm I have for emotional balance and relaxation. Sometimes we really bring in that balance, especially when it comes to growing, because again, we get too excited.
You do. Overzealous a little bit, maybe.
And rosemary, which is going to enhance your mental clarity, focus, and memory.
Love it. Now, do you have a card for that one?
I do. Okay. So I really like the High Priestess with the tarot card when it comes to waxing moon. So she kind of like holds your secret in life, right? And these will be revealed as the moon grows in strength. The moon is slowly becoming more illuminated now. So growing your inner wisdom by connecting this phase with self-reflection and feeding your appetite for really what you desire.
I like that.
Yeah.
High Priestess. Okay.
Well, it is never easy to cut a recording right in the middle of a great topic, but this is the easiest place I found to put a break in. We've got about 45 minutes today, and I've got about 45 minutes next week too. So it's the perfect spot to put a quick hold on the topic. I promise next week we are going to start right where we are leaving off today and jump into the full moon, the waning moon, and the dark moon. Next week, I also have that new poem that I mentioned. I'll be adding that at the end. Till then, I hope you have an amazing full moon tonight. This is our second full moon of August, so enjoy. I'll talk with you next week. Thank you for joining me today at Witchy Work Wishes, a place to find your weekly inspiration for bringing your personal witchcraft practice into your business, work, and office. For more information and additional content, please visit me online at witchyworkwishes.com. If you want to send me a personal note, please email me at info@witchyworkwishes.com. And of course, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Just search for Witchy Work Wishes.